to Paradigms at paradigms.life, the radio show and podcast that brings you inspiring people with visions of a viable future for life on Earth that includes humans. Hi, I'm Baruch, host of Paradigms. Thanks for tuning in. Got a great episode for you. We've got a guest. He's a wonderful interpreter of songs, and he tours around playing music in communities. He's a troubadour. He's got a new record out inspired by the year 1964, and he'll tell us why. But before we talk with him, we're going to have a little check-in with someone who was on the show recently who has been nominated for an award. So here we go with this episode of Paradigms. Aimée, hi.
Hi.
So nice to see you.
So good to see you again, too. Yeah.
Congratulations on your nomination.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much.
The NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Jazz Album for Love and the Catalyst. Wow.
Wow. Yeah. I am still processing. I am so honored. I'm so honored to be mentioned in the same breath as the other nominees. I'm so honored that the NAACP of all organizations actually recognized this album, and I'm still pinching myself, really.
So is there like an awards event that you're going to go to? What happens?
Yes, I am going to go to their, for nominees, there's an awards dinner. It's next week. It's actually in 1 week. And then on Saturday is the event that everyone kind of knows because it's broadcast live on CBS and BET. It's the awards live broadcast. And that's the one with all the,
the gala,
the Hollywood stars. It is in LA. Both days are in LA. So I'm getting ready to go next week to both of these events. I'm so excited. I'm going to have an absolute blast. I'm going to fangirl out,
I'm just happy for you. Congratulations. And I can't wait to find out what happens.
Me too. I know this sounds terribly cliche, but I kind of do feel like I won because I'm nominated. I am a huge fan and admirer of the other nominees. I'm the only completely independent artist nominee. So believe me when I tell you, this was like the shock of my life to find out I was nominated. And I'm just excited. I'm just excited to be there.
We'll have an awesome time. I just wanted to check in with you about this and say congratulations and fingers crossed.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate, like I said, I'm independent. So everyone who supported this album and this music, I am so appreciative. You kind of come with me when I go to this event, when I go to the other coast and hang out with the stars.
It's a big deal.
For me, it is. For me, it's a huge deal. I'll be posting on social media, so follow me. I'm just gonna have a good time. Thanks, Baruch.
All right. See you later.
Okay, see ya. Take care.
We're very excited for Aimée Allen for the nomination of her record Love and the Catalyst as Outstanding Jazz Album in the 54th Annual NAACP Image Awards. Good luck, Aimée. Have a great time in LA. Here's a song from Aimée's record, Love and the Catalyst. It's called The Comet's Tail. And then we'll be back and meet our featured guest on this episode of Paradigms. Here's The Comet's Tail. You're listening to Paradigms at paradigms.life.
The comet's tail passes at the speed of light. So if you blink, you might miss it, though it's bright. It only comes every 70 years or so. So you will want to know, be there to see it glow. Sure, you can wait, hoping for a miracle, but you don't know all the things the heavens know. So when the clouds open themselves up to the light, lift up your eyes to see the possibilities. Comets come fast and then go. When comets come, who can know? we tell never tell us what we know. They always surprise us with the way they go. Finest treasures always come in the unknown. So keep an open mind, prepare to be surprised. Don't ever lose sight of things that can astound. Don't ever lose the desire to be spellbound. A brilliance that comes only once in a lifetime. The blink of an eye will leave you far behind. Comets come fast and then go. When comets come, who can know? Comets can appear from out of nowhere, leaving us lost in to tell never tells you what you know. It always surprises you with where it goes. The finest treasures always come in the unknown. So keep an open mind, prepare to be surprised. Don't ever lose sight of things that can astound. Don't ever lose the desire to be spellbound. Brilliance that comes only once in a lifetime. The blink of an eye will leave you far behind. Comets come fast and then go. When comets come, who can know? Comets can appear from out of nowhere, leaving us lost in there. Lost in their glow. You'll never find, you can never tell what you don't know. What you don't know, prepare to be surprised. Keep your eyes open wide. Watch the skies.
That's Aimée Allen with The Comet's Tale from her award-nominated album, Love and the Catalyst. All right, and now we're going to meet someone who is referred to as the American Troubadour. Pat Guadagno, welcome to Paradigms.
Great to be here.
I was just listening to your record, 1964, a lot to talk about. But I want to ask you a bit your story, because you're a guy, you play music, and you do this amazing job covering these wonderful, familiar songs that we love. But how did you discover music? I mean, you're not a kid, you've been doing this for a while. What's your story?
Yeah, I kind of just been, out of frustration of trying to get good at something. I always been kind of good at taking shortcuts and getting through things. And I kind of found that I wasn't a great songwriter. I have so much respect for great songwriters that are just so gifted and songwriting comes from such a special place, and I didn't feel that I was there. I kind of grew up on people like Jose Feliciano, and my dad listened to, Sinatra and Tony Bennett and all those guys that actually revered the songwriters like I do, and they took the songs from the masters and they put their own kind of spin on it. They delivered them their way, and I kind of started doing that at a young age, and fought through a lot of adversity doing it, because back in the '60s, if you didn't write your own songs, you were not well thought of.
We do. We really celebrate people who perform original material, but we also, there are these amazing interpreters out there. Linda Ronstadt, of course, comes to mind.
Right.
One of the most amazing interpreters of contemporary music. She's done some writing. That's not her main thing. Emmylou Harris. So so you are in good company.
Well, I thought so too.
And what about the actual learning to play? How did that happen?
That was kind of, my mom saw a glimpse of, I guess, musicianship in me, or performer in me when I was young, and insisted I take piano lessons, which I guess everybody did at my age, and took piano lessons and kind of learned the basics. But I was, again, looking for shortcuts and not wanting to learn, to learn everything. I kind of developed an ear and played everything by ear. So I always kind of did that, and gradually migrated to the guitar, and everything came kind of slowly, but ended up on a classical guitar, just playing the three chords and trying to figure out music.
Well, let's jump fast forward to 1964 in 2023. So 1964, obviously you're referring to a period of time, but this is a snapshot through all these songs, right?
Yeah, I kind of was, I just kind of molded in that period. It was such a renaissance, and everything was coming at you so fast. And it's just started a whole new stream of music in the world and in my life. And I just appreciated those songs so much. And when I started recording the album, there really wasn't a theme to it. And then I looked up and I had about 5 or 6 songs recorded and saw that they were all done in 1964. And I said, well, that might be a good theme to go with. So I just recorded as many as I could, and this is what was left of them, because some spilled out on the cutting room floor and some stayed. It wasn't a theme that I consciously thought of when I did the album. It just kind of worked out that way.
Well, it worked out really fun. For me, I recognize these songs, of course, and so it was just like sort of a nostalgic journey, only with a new perspective, because it's different versions. For folks who are younger, who didn't live through that time, they may not recognize all these songs. So it's like an introduction to this great material.
Yeah, it really was. And it's different than anything that's come before it or since. It was a different kind of it was just a renaissance, I refer to it as, with the Beatles and the British invasion starting, and folk music too was, with Dylan's first album, and then all of a sudden, Judy Collins, and that's what I was listening to back then.
Yep, Joan Baez, and then Joni Mitchell, and
yeah,
there we go. Since we're there, I just wanted to give us a moment to talk about David Crosby.
Wow, yeah, but if it can be a shock anymore. They've been coming at us so fast and furiously with Jeff Beck and everybody else. And my God, it was just I just felt like David's gift was his beautiful, beautiful voice. Great musician, great guitar player, great songwriter. But his gift never, ever failed him. His vocal gift never failed him. It was a beautiful, velvety voice. He found harmony in everything he did, and he was the driving force behind CSN, and that just always was his strong point, I thought.
Yeah, they are going. Seems like they're popping off left and right.
And, oh my God, it is. And it I guess maybe it shouldn't be a shock at our age, but it always is. It's like, I felt the same way when Jeff Beck and David Crosby died that I did the day I heard Jimi Hendrix died, and I was only it was like, it's a shock and you don't expect it, but.
I'm talking with Pat Guadagno about his new record, 1964. Here's a track, Bob Dylan song, Boots of Spanish Leather.
Oh, I'm sailing away, my own true love. I'm sailing away in the morning. Is there something I can send you to remember me by? From the place where I'll be landing.
No, there's nothing you can send me, my own true love. There's nothing I wish to be owning. Just carry yourself back to me unspoiled from across that lonesome ocean.
Well, I just thought that you might want something fine. Maybe silver, maybe golden. Something from the mountains of Madrid, or from the coast of Barcelona.
But if I had the stars from the darkest night and the diamonds from the deepest ocean, I'd forsake them all for your sweet kiss. For that's all I'm wishing to be owning.
And I might be gone for a long old time, and it's only that I'm asking, is there something I can send you to remember me by, to make your time more easy passing?
Oh, how can you ask me again? It only brings me sorrow. The same thing that I want from you today, I would want again tomorrow.
Well, I got a letter on a lonesome day. It was from a ship a-sailing, saying I don't know if I'll be coming back again. It depends on how I'm feeling.
Well, if you, my love, must think that way, I'm sure your mind is roaming. I'm sure your heart is not with me, but with the country to where you're going.
Take heed of the western wind. Take heed of stormy weather.
And yes, there is something you can send back to me.
Spanish boots of Spanish leather.
Boots of Spanish Leather. Wonderful, great treatment of a familiar song. Here's the next part of my conversation with Pat Guadagno. Here we are at this time in the world, and some of us are older, obviously, and seeing things with a different perspective than we used to. But This time in the world, I mean, it's impossible to know. Are we experiencing unprecedented change? Is this just how humans have been doing it, and each generation thinks that their thing is the most severe? Those are questions we've heard before. But what do you think about our current human situation?
It's I have two grandchildren, and I just can't help but be afraid and wonder and be hopeful, but more afraid of the world that they're going to grow up in. And you sound like the old "get off my lawn" guy when you said, "Oh, back when we were younger." But my God, what these kids are going to have to go through, what these kids are going to have to live through to survive, it's unprecedented, and it's unforeseeable. Nobody knows what's going to happen.
So I'm curious. I mean, here you are, you're a musician and you're bringing this music to people and you see the world as you see it. I can't help but think those things are connected, right?
Yeah, they are. I've always felt that I've appreciated the vehicle that I was given to be able to share my gift, my music with so many other people. And I'm actually pulled over on Route 95 right now on a little bit of a East Coast mini tour. I'm heading down to Key West, Florida, and
Right.
just I'm gonna do about 10 shows down there. And I've loved my job since the first day I started doing it, and always will.
Well, that's perfect because that was going to be my next question is, are you playing out? So you're on your way to Florida. You're going to be playing. Is it just you? Do you have players with you when you're on the road? Because the album has a lot of musicianship going on. It's not stripped down.
It does. I've had this area that I grew up in Monmouth County, New Jersey, is just such a fertile area for music and musicians and performers that I have just made so many friends, acquaintances that I love to, again, sharing is what I love to do. And I loved sharing the talents of my friends on this album. And I'll be down in Key West and I'll hook up with about 5 or 10 local musicians that I run into every time I'm down there, and we'll perform and kind of try and make friends at every stop. And Key West have been doing for about 10 years now, and got a great group of musicians down there that love jumping up on stage with me and performing, but usually by myself.
It's very cool. Well, that makes me want to ask you about the actual recording of 1964, because it's really, really well recorded and produced and engineered. And, for listeners, that always sounds like, what are they talking about? But, that's the vision of the music. So that's awesome. What was the process like?
It's always a bit of almost a tour. I recorded a little bit everywhere I went in the past 2 years, and actually one of the songs dates back about maybe 5 years that I did at different studios. We did the main work at a studio in New Jersey, directed by Gary Oliar, who's a local musician and great guy. And then I took it down to the fella that produced my first album, which was probably my most successful album. I've always stayed with the people that I like and that I have success with. He's in Asheville, North Carolina. And so I went down to Asheville on my way to Key West last year to mix the album in his studio because, just kind of respect his ears. And we were down in Key West, and my brother and I went into a studio in Key West, and he's a bass player. He put some bass tracks on the album in Key West. So it's been recorded all over the country. We did some things in Nashville. My daughter lives in Nashville, and I traveled there a lot, to find music, to find songs, and to record. And we did some recording in Nashville too. So it's just done all over the place.
Very cool. You are living the life of the troubadour.
Yeah, I am, and I love it.
It's good. It's an important role in our society, in all societies too. I mean, you bring space for people to sit or not sit, but to listen and groove and vibe. But it's more than that, because when people are listening to music, they go in and heal their minds, whether they're thinking that's what they're going to do or not.
You're right. And I discovered I was never, overvalued my importance on the planet. I always just do what I do. But during COVID, I felt obliged to get out there because I wanted to keep my chops. I wanted to get out and touch people and perform. And I did some live streams, and I was just absolutely amazed at how important they were to people. They were as important to me as they were to other people, but I just made so many new friends and old friends doing that, and I realized that it really is important, and it is a good place to be.
I'm sure there are people who watched and listened to you who still remember how it helped them.
Yeah, they do.
We'll be back with more of my conversation with Pat Guadagno about his new record, 1964, and his experiences talking about COVID and touring. And here are a couple more songs from that record, starting out with Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying.
Don't let the sun catch you crying. The night's the time for your tears. Your heart may be broken tonight, but tomorrow in the morning light, don't let the sun catch you crying. The nighttime shadows disappear, and with them go all your tears. But the morning will bring joy for every girl and boy. Don't let the sun catch you crying. We know that crying is not a bad thing, but stop your crying when the birds sing. It may be hard to discover that you've been left for another, but don't forget that love's a pain, and it can always come again. Don't let the sun catch you crying. Crying is not a bad thing, but stop your crying when the birds sing. It may be hard to discover that you've been left for another, but don't forget that love's a game, and it can always come again. So don't let the sun catch you crying. Don't let the sun catch you crying. Don't let the sun catch you crying, no, no, no.
You're listening to Paradigms at paradigms.life.
I don't know what it is that make me love you so. I only know I never wanna let you go. You started something, can't you see? Ever since we met, you had this hold on me. Happens to be true. I only wanna be with you. It doesn't matter where you go or what you do. I wanna spend each moment of the day with you. Look what has happened with just one kiss. I never knew that I could be in love like this. Crazy, but it's true. I only wanna be with you. You stopped and you smiled at me and asked me if I cared to dance. I fell in your open arms. I didn't stand a chance. Now listen, honey, I just wanna be beside you everywhere. As long as we're together, honey, I don't care. You started something, it's plain to see. And ever since we met, you've had this hold on me. No matter what you do, I only wanna be with you. Stopped and you smiled at me and asked me if I cared to dance. I fell in your open arms. I didn't stand a chance. Now listen, honey, I just wanna be beside you everywhere. As long as we're together, honey, I don't care. You started something, it's plain to see. Ever since we met, you've had this hold on me. No matter what you do, I only wanna be with you. Crazy, but it's true. I only wanna be with you. No matter what you do, I only wanna be with, I only wanna be with, I only wanna be with you.
I Only Want to Be With You. Remember that one? Great version. By Pat Guadagno from his new record, 1964. Before that, we heard Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying. And now here's the next part of my conversation with Pat Guadagno. COVID was interesting in terms of the art scene because it seems to me that it took some of the wind out of the sails of the culture of celebrity. It leveled the playing field a bit. And lots of people like you did live streams, lots of people who were not famous and lots of people who were super famous. And it really brought people back to this I'm giving this out for the people thing.
It really did. It really did. It was, and again, not to repeat myself, but it emphasized the importance of it in a role where we were, we were being told what was necessary, what we had to do, and what we couldn't do. It's like, when you're leaving your house in a fire, what's important? What do you take with you? And this seemed to rise above everything. It was important, an important part of the whole COVID thing. It really was, and it made it through, and it got stronger. I think
it changed things. I think for a lot of people in terms of how we feed ourselves.
It did.
In this, wow, very cool. How was it for you? I mean, were you isolated by yourself? Were you with people?
I was. I got it very early, and I had a really almost a life-threatening bout of it in a hospital, which also changed my direction and everything I did. I came out of the hospital, by the grace of God, and just a whole new perspective on what was important or what wasn't important, and it kind of narrowed my perspective a lot as to what I want to get done and what I want to, I'm not ready to leave yet. So,
well, thank goodness that you came through, because I lost my oldest brother in that first wave of it. That first wave of it was really bad.
It was. I remember sitting in the emergency room and seeing a dear friend across the way that I couldn't even go near or talk to. And then I found out later that I came out of the hospital and he did not. And it was just, we forget that now.
Yeah. Now that the variants seem to be less virulent, although highly contagious, for most people getting it now, it seems like it's not that serious. Some people are still getting a very serious illness, but this is nothing to poo-poo still.
No, it's not. It's still serious, and it's still, I'm kind of over it. I want it to be done. I really do, but I can see it in my rear view, and it's still there, and I still respect it, and I still think about it, but
yep.
I just want it to be over.
I hear you. Well, I had 2 researchers on the show early on, and I've been in touch with them, and they say the same advice still carries. Antioxidants, high quality antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory diet. And those 2 things will help reduce the long term, because it's the long COVID that's really done a number on so many people.
It is, and I feel it, and I'm a part of a group called the Long Haulers that meet every couple of months or so, and there are people that kind of slip through the cracks. They don't realize that this was and is a life changer. It's where people are still affected from it. I'm still affected from it. It just doesn't go away, and nobody's going to know. It'll take years to figure out, the damage it's done.
But how cool that you are right now sitting there in your van on 95, getting ready to go into Florida to do a tour and play music for people, and you came through all this, and yay, that's awesome.
I'm thankful.
We'll be back with the final part of my conversation with Pat Guadagno after we hear some more music from his new record, 1964. I hope you're enjoying these new treatments of well-loved songs. Here's a Beatles song.
Think you lost your love? Well, I saw her yesterday. It's you she's thinking of, and she told me what to say. She said she loves you. You know that can't be bad. She loves you, and you should be glad. Said you heard her so, she almost lost her mind. But now she said she knows you're not the hurting kind, and that she loves you. You know that can't be bad. She loves you, and you should be glad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. With a love like that, you know you should be glad. It's up to you. I think it's only fair. Pride can hurt you too. Apologize to her because she loves you. You know that can be bad. She loves you, and you should be glad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. With a love like that, you know you should be glad. Thanks. My mother was a tailor. She sewed my new blue jeans. My sweetheart, she was a gambler. So down in New Orleans, fills his glasses to the brim. He'll pass the cards around. The only pleasure of his life is rambling from town to town. Now the only gambling needs is a suitcase and a trunk, and the only time gambler satisfied is when he's on drugs. Tell my baby sister not to do what I have done, to shun that house in New Orleans they call the rising sun. We
House of the Rising Sun, Pat Guadagno from his new record, 1964, featuring songs that were popular back then. Before that, the Beatles song, She Loves You. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, here's the final part of my conversation with Pat Guadagno. So you're going to go do this Florida tour, and then do you have another one lined up after that?
Summertime is kind of like I have a couple of shows that I do. I put together kind of a tribute is not a good word. I put together a Van Morrison show, a Bob Dylan show, and a Tom Waits show, and a John Prine show where I do my versions of their music. And we're doing them in theaters around New Jersey, and I'll get ready. They start in March, so that's what I'll do when I get back.
Wow, those sound great.
Yeah, it's fun to do. And like I say, I'm blessed with so many musician friends that are really talented. And I assemble them all together. And my only regret is that I can't sit out there in the audience and watch the show. It's so good.
Do you have any of your shows videotaped?
Yeah, we did. I've done some segments on my website from the Van Morrison show and from the Bob Dylan show. And we did the Bob Dylan show every year around his birthday. We've been doing it for 25 years. And it started in a little bar in Red Bank, New Jersey. I just did a Bob Dylan song, played Dylan all night long, and it turned into a 25-year run. And we'll be celebrating our 25th year of singing Bob Dylan songs on his birthday. It's called Bob Fest.
Oh, that's awesome. So, okay, I'm going to ask you some silly questions. Favorite Bob Dylan song to sing?
Without a doubt, it's Chimes of Freedom. It just always has been.
It's such a great song. That is such a great song.
It really is. The one I love to listen to is my friend Steve Delopoulos comes to Bob Fest, and he does Every Grain of Sand. And I think that's as important a Dylan song as there is.
Yeah. Who are some of the artists that you love to listen to?
I love to listen to singers. I'm a big fan of Raul Malo from the Mavericks. I love to hear his voice and what he does with music. And I'm a fan and friend of Keb Mo. Keb Mo and I have done some shows together, and I love what he does. I love his kind of approach to music. It's not all blues. It's a little bit of everything. And you can't really grow up in New Jersey and not be affected or influenced by Bruce Springsteen. And I've been influenced by him since I saw him when I was 16, and been a fan and an acquaintance for years. And he, oddly enough, came out with an album of cover songs the same time I did. So, I don't know whether our camps were in touch with each other or not.
That's great. Yeah, it's wonderful to be inspired by people.
Yeah. Gonna get ready to send another video out. You have the Chimes of Freedom video, which we did, and we're gonna release another one, the Dylan song Boots of Spanish Leather. We're gonna release that one probably in a week or so.
Fantastic. Well, Pat, it's great to talk with you, and I love what you're doing, and I'm really glad you survived COVID.
Oh, thank you. I think about it all the time, and God bless the people we lost. It was, don't ever forget, can't forget how serious it was and how serious it is.
Yep. Well, you have an awesome time in Florida playing for the people. I know they're going to love you. Thank you, brother. I'll have to hook up. We do when we did our Bob Fest out in San Diego a couple of years ago. We're going to try and get back out to California to do it again, but fantastic. Nothing in the works yet. But I will keep in touch. Thank you very much for your time. Absolutely. Thank you. Pat Guadagno, thanks so much for talking with me and being on Paradigms. Really enjoyed the conversation and just love the reality of you traveling around, playing music with people and communities, just having a good time with folks. It's such an important part of humanity, music, sharing music. If you'd like to know more about Pat, follow his tours, check out his website, patguadagno.com, patguadagno.com. Check out the videos that Pat was telling us about. All right. And Aimée Allen, good luck at the award show. Congratulations. You can find out more about Aimée at her website. Keep track of her nomination at Aimée Allen Music, AIMEEALLEN music.com. I hope you enjoyed these two artists and that you'll check out the Paradigms website, paradigms.life, where all our episodes are archived going back to 2009. Paradigms has a Patreon campaign. I hope you'll check that out, patreon.com/paradigms. We really appreciate our Patreon supporters so much. All this emphasis on creativity is because it is our path to solving our problems. It's always creativity that gets us out of a jam, usually a jam we got ourselves into. So let's have that be the word for the week, creativity. It doesn't just mean the arts, it also means how am I creating my life? All right, we're going to close out the show with a song that Pat expressed affection for. Great song, the Bob Dylan song, Chimes of Freedom. I hope you enjoy it. This is Baruch signing off for this episode of Paradigms. We'll be back next time with more inspiring people. Until then, let's really just revel in our creativity and be well.
Far between sundown's finish and midnight's broken tone, we ducked inside the doorway, thunder crashing, as majestic bells of bolts struck shadows in the night, seeming to be the chimes of freedom flashing. Flashing for the warriors whose strength is not to fight, and flashing for the refugees on their unarmed road of flight, and for each and every underdog soldier in the night. We gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing. In the city's melted furnace, unexpectedly we watched, with faces hidden while the walls were tightening, as the echo of the wedding bell before the blowing rain dissolved into the wild bells of lightning. For the rebel, tolling for the rake, tolling for the luckless, the abandoned and forsaken, tolling for the outcast, burning constantly at stake. We gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing. Through a cloud-like curtain, in a far-off corner flashed, the hypnotic splattered mist was slowly lifting, and electric lights still struck like arrows, fired but for the ones condemned to drift, or else be kept from drifting. Tolling for the searching ones on their speechless sinking trail, for the lonesome-hearted lovers with two-person on the tail, and for each unharmful gentle soul misplaced inside a jail. We gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing. Starry-eyed and laughing, as I recall when we were caught, trapped by no track of hours, for they hang suspended. As we listen one last time, and we watch with one last look, spellbound and swallowed as the tolling ended. Tolling for the aching ones whose whose wounds cannot be nursed, for the countless confused, abused, misused, strung out ones or worse, and for every hung up person in this whole wide universe. We gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing. We gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing.
You've been listening to Paradigms at paradigms.life.